up, y'all? In this video, I'm going to be showing you the ropes on my customizable slime ball Vtuber model. And if you're finding this video before picking up the model, you can snatch it from my KoFi here. Few things to note before we jump into this model. I did do my best to make sure all the toggles worked well with each other. However, there are some mixes that may provide some results you ain't looking for. For example, if you want to use a beak, you need to be on the default mouth option, or it'll show gaps around the beak when you're looking all around. The rock toggles also ain't going to show all the rocks when mixed with certain options, and so on. Also, it's advised that you utilize the color toggles to recolor the model, rather than using the art mesh recoloring system. Especially when it comes to the tail. This is because there are several art meshes to work with, and it'll be real tedious for you to try to manually edit every single one. Now, with all this in mind, let's jump right into the tutorial. Alrighty, this right here is Slime Ball. Once we got them loaded up and ready to rock and roll in Vtuber Studio, we're going to click right here on Settings, go up here to Hotkey Settings and Expression, and start making our customizable Vtuber model. Now, if you used my models before, not much has changed, but there are a few new things to note. So, let's go ahead and click on Expression Editor. Then click on Create New Expression, and click Select. Alright, let's talk about this menu real quick like. So anything that's got the double stars on it is going to let you know that we're in a new category. So for example, this here says Body Toggles. Everything between these stars and those stars are going to be things for your body. Then you get to Face Toggles, and you'll see here we've got a little extra kind of fancy divider there. This is just to help you see the little like subdivisions inside of like a divider, right? So we got Face Toggles, everything from here to this little star divider is going to be your brows. Between these two you got eyes, in here you got mouth, so on and so forth. When we scroll back to the top now, you'll see here it says body, and you got these little lines, and then it says toggle. Anything that says toggle is exactly what it is. It's going to be a toggle that helps you switch through different kinds of things. Anything that says color is going to be helping you pick the color of that thing that's in the front. So like this says body color, so it's going to change the color of your body. Same here, going to change body line color, so it's going to change the color of your body line art. Then, if you want it to be darker or brighter, this here, the base brightness, if you go up, it makes it lighter. If you go down, or rather if you go right, it makes it brighter. You go left, it makes it darker. And that is going to hold true throughout the entire process, that all these sliders that say color and brightness, it's all going to be the same. So I'm just going to stop yapping your ear off. I'm going to quickly go through this and just kind of pause at the parts that I need to be yapping. Okay, so you'll notice with the eyebrows and with the eyeballs that you can set the colors different on each one. If you want them to be the exact same color, set up the color you want on the first one, and then just copy the number you get here into the other one. So like for this one, I have 9 for my color and 0.4 for my brightness. So down here on the left versions of it, I would just put 9 and 0.4, and we got the exact same color. Now for the lashes, the lash color is going to match the color that you've got on that eyeball. So like if I change this color, you'll see that the lash changes with it. If you want the eyelashes to be a different color than the eyeball, you will have to mess with that in the art mesh. There are a few toggles that are kind of like that, so I'll let you know as we go through this. But for the most part, everything's going to have a color wheel. Just lashes never got their own separate color wheel. Now on the mouths here, this is what I was talking about earlier. You got 2 types of mouths. You've got your default mouth, which is what we're looking at right now, and you got your little 3 mouth. If you decide you want a snoot or like a beak or something, which you're going to find down here in the snoots toggle, do not have this mouth form on, because it's going to mess up. You're going to notice it's going to mess some stuff up when you're making certain expressions. See, you can see the line of the mouth under the beak, which you won't have that issue if you toggle that off, and you see now everything is tucked in how it's supposed to be. So just keep that in mind. If you decide you want a beak or you want a snoot or something like that, make sure you have the default mouth form. Now of course, if you got a little button nose, you can have your little 3 mouths. So just wanted to make sure y'all are aware of that. Also, with the fang size toggle, if you don't got the fangs on and you mess with the size toggle, it'll make your top lip bigger. So if that's something you're looking for without fangs, you know, that's something to kind of keep an eye on. It might look a little goofy in some situations, but then if you do decide to turn on the fangs, you'll notice the fangs are pretty big. So just kind of keep that all in mind. Keep that all in mind. Now this here, we've also got inner ear size toggle. If you don't like the inner ear part to be quite as big, you can mess with this to make them smaller, or even if you put it all the way to the end, it'll make it disappear completely. So depending on what kind of design you're going for, if you just want to mess around with that, you can change how big that inside is as well. I'm here at the face patterns, and I just want to let y'all know, if you really want to, you can turn on every single face pattern. It should be layered in such a way that you can kind of see all of it, but it will become a mess. So just be careful on what you decide to choose, but in general you should be able to mix and match all of these to your heart's content. Now when it comes to the tails, right, you're gonna want to make sure you use these toggles for the colors on this, otherwise you're gonna be in a world of hurt. Something interesting I have noticed, if you turn on the patterns for the tail, it'll actually show up, which you can't hardly see it. There you go. It'll actually show up and it'll have an invisible tail, so that's a fun little thing if that's something that you're into. But yeah, there's a lot going on in here. So you've got this tail, you can make it, you know, your default, and as you go, you'll see it gets a little bit smaller. And then at 2, you'll have the foxtail, and at 3, you'll have the devil's tail. Now, if you are in between tails, you're going to have things look all crooked and wonky and crazy. So just make sure you're adjusting that so that it ain't stuck in some weird stuff. Unless you like it that way, then I mean, don't let me tell you what to do. Go crazy. Go crazy. And you'll notice here there's some extra toggles under the tail toggles. This is specifically for the devil's tail, so if you end up turning on the devil's tail, this will change the tip of the color, the colors on the tip of the tail. So if we look over here, you'll see all this stuff that you do won't do nothing. Like you're trying to change the base color and you're like, why ain't it changing? Well, that's because it ain't talking about that. It's if you want to do that, you gotta click on these here, and you can change the tip of the tail just like that. Same thing with the wing toggles. Just make sure you're not in between anything, or you'll have some weird effects unless you like that. With the last toggle here, you got the butterfly wings, and it's got some extra parameters here for you to mess with so that the butterfly wings can change how you see fit. So that's how you change the decal on the butterfly wings. Otherwise, if you're clicked on anything else, it won't do, these toggles won't do nothing. So another thing just to keep in mind. Another thing here is we've got this little wing size toggle. Just like all the other size toggles, it'll adjust the size of your wings if you want them to be bigger or smaller, whatever you see fit. So that's there for you as well. Then at this area here where it says slime types, this is where you're going to find the toggles for specific types of slimes that you find in the game. So like if you want to look kind of similar like a boom slime, now you got some boom toggles. You got some boom lines there. We got a tangle hat, which everything should work well with each other. Now the colors on here are going to be a little bit spatial, so if you want to change every single little piece to a specific color, you're going to need to use the art mesh editor for that. This will just kind of rotate it through a color scale so you can kind of match it in that sort of way, if that makes sense. But yeah, like if you wanted like the petal here to be, you know, a peachy color, but the top to be like a blue or something, then you'd have to go into the mesh editor to edit those accordingly. Everything should match up with each other pretty well. There's a few that don't really like each other too much. They don't really get along too well, but I did do my best to make things kind of adjust so that they'll fit. The fins toggle is definitely one that you'll see gets a little wonky, as particularly on that top fin, so just make sure if you want fins and you also want hats to just turn off that top fin by moving this around. Just some things like that. Rocks are another one that can only adjust so much. So you'll see there's a couple rocks here, but you got so much going on, it turned off the other stuff. So like if I turn off the coin and the tangle hat, you'll see we've got more rocks. If you turn off the ears, you'll get another rock here. Just kind of things like that. I try my best to make sure everything is cohesive and works well with each other. So. One more thing I just realized I forgot to do is to mess with the inside of the mouth. So definitely, there's so much to see here, it's real easy to forget stuff. So, right here. So inside of the mouth, that's our mouth color. For this part, you might have to open your mouth a little bit and kind of have to be a little slack jaw to get all this done, but it's worth it. Now, if we scroll all the way down here, you'll know you've reached the end of your options when you see this right here, where you got the 3 stars and custom options, another 3 stars. Do not mess with nothing else past this point, because it's going to make your system all kinds of weird and wonky. So don't mess with nothing else here. Once you're happy with what you've got, you've adjusted everything, you've added the colors you want, you're ready to rock and roll and play with your new model. Go up here to this top here, and where it says expression name, and just give it any kind of name. You can just call it model or whatever, it don't matter. Go ahead and click save. It's going to set you back to default slime ball. Don't worry about that none. Just click on this button right here that says create new hotkeys for all unused expressions. You click on that button, click select. It'll say that model has been created, a little hotkey for it. So you click OK. And here it is. Now, if you got a Stream Deck, you can set this up with your Stream Deck, press a button, boom, slime ball looks the same. If you just want to set it up with a regular keyboard, like I'll press the number 1, for example. Click on that. Now when I press the number 1, boom, there it is, the design I just made. I ain't going to show y'all how to use the art mesh editor on this, because like I said, for the most part, you're going to want to use those color toggles that are already in the system. But if you do want to go through the art mesh, I got plenty of tutorials on that already on my other customizable VTuber models, so feel free to check those out. But yeah, y'all have fun with your slime model. And if you notice any bugs or any weirdness, please let me know, and I'll do my best to try to fix it up. This is the most complicated customizable VTuber model I ever made, so I imagine there's going to be some bugs, some glitches, and some weirdness somewhere along the way. But anyways, I hope this helped, and I'll see y'all again real soon.